Welcome to The Right Atmosphere, podcast for writers, brought to you by Atmosphere Press, the only publisher that puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. I'm your host, Hala Alawi. On this episode, we're going to be talking about getting and using reviews to market your book with our guest, Joe Walters. Joe is the founder of Independent Book Review, a celebration of indie books. He's been on the marketing teams of indie presses like Sunbury Press, Paper Raven Books, and Inkwater Press. And he's the author of The Truth About Book Reviews, an insider's guide to getting and using reviews to grow your readership. When he's not writing, assigning, or editing reviews in a Pennsylvania Panera Bread, he's playing with his daughters or reading indie books by Kindle-Lite. Check out which ones at independentbookreview.com. Thank you so much for joining me, Joe.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that at Atmosphere Press, the thing that we know you best for is running independent book review, like I mentioned. It really is, I'm not just saying this, it really is a top quality book review service. So I definitely recommend everybody check it out. But also, of course, you've got this book coming out, being released about getting and releasing reviews. So I'm sure that it's going to be a really great resource for authors. So I'd really like to start just by asking you to lay out for us what exactly is an editorial review.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think of editorial reviews, I think of the section on Amazon that's called Amazon's editorial reviews section. So basically, that's where you, as an author on Amazon, if you have an Amazon Author Central account, you can head in and edit your editorial reviews, which is basically adding your blurbs or quotes from notable sources onto your Amazon book page. You can't add customer reviews on your Amazon page, but you can add these types of reviews. You can also add them in graphics for social media. You can use them in pitch letters to other book reviewers. Basically, an editorial review is positive language about your book that you use on your marketing material. From a place like Independent Book Review, a person could be a blurber. Like if I know somebody very popular, I'm going to throw out Kevin Wilson because he's got a really cool book coming out this summer that he blurbs all the time. He writes, "This book was amazing for Annie Hartnett's forthcoming book." That means that Annie Hartnett could use it on her Amazon editorial review section. She can put it on her pitch. She can put graphics for it. So basically, Independent Book Review, we are a recognized review source. Like Kirkus Reviews is really old, but they're still kicking and they're still doing an awesome job. Forward Reviews, Independent Book Review. If you put our name, our words on your book cover that says, "Whoa, this book is incredible," that can increase the chance that the person who's browsing your book buys it.
Yeah, I like that you also made that distinction about notable source. It's obviously still very valuable for people to be getting these consumer reviews on Amazon, Goodreads, etc. But this is really a key difference about these editorial reviews that is important for authors to understand. So, from your perspective, why do you think it's important for authors to get reviews for their books?
So many reasons. So there are three different types. So we got the blurbs, editorial reviews. We can also do like media and trade reviews. If you get reviewed on social media, that's a different benefit than the way you would have a blurb and use a blurb. If you get it from a trade review publication, which is a platform that only focuses on books, Electric Literature is a book review platform. People who are talking about books, that's the second type. And the third type would be customer reviews, the ones you find on Amazon from everyday people, the ones you find on Goodreads from everyday people, Kobo, places like that. And so it's important to get each one of them differently. There's different times to chase different types of reviews. All of them could really start very early on before publication. And so we already talked about the importance of blurbs and editorial reviews, how you can use them, how you can influence buyers, but also librarians and bookstores to say yes to your book. And then media reviews, the publicity is a giant benefit where if you are able to get your book on a reader-friendly website and someone visits that website who's a reader looking for a new book and finds yours. That is huge publicity benefit. They might shout your book out in their newsletter. That can increase your readership. That can increase your followers. If people are talking about your book on the internet or in person, mostly the internet though. And then customer reviews are important because they show that real people are reading it. Real people are reading it right now, which is cool. So a browser could visit your page once, see it's at a certain number, visit it again, and it's at a higher number. A big benefit there. And it creates that form of popularity, a feeling of popularity. If you get to 100 reviews, it's like, oh, this person actually really did it. There's a ton of stuff here. They can read through customer reviews. If there's a couple negative ones, they can decide if they agree. They can see that it is a real book with real readers, and it might be relevant to them. But I mean, on top of it, for the importance of them is that you can kind of like guide your author journey with them. You can understand how, when you're targeting reviews, when you're sending pitches to people, you kind of figure out if your book is working for your audience. You're asking someone to read something for free, and you don't have to say, please buy my book. You say, can you share your time with me? And if 100 people out of 105 are not answering you or saying no, maybe the cover's wrong. Maybe the description is wrong. Maybe your genre is wrong. You get to learn from reviews, from the review targeting journey, not necessarily about the criticism in the reviews, because you should be getting so much feedback that criticism is a part of it, and you shouldn't listen to all of it as editorial feedback, but you should listen to the journey to figure out if you're marketing it correctly, if your content was working, but also if the package is unprofessional. So there's a ton of reasons why it's important.
Yeah, I love that you kind of laid out the different types of reviews, and they all have their own advantages, obviously, and different ways that you can utilize them. Are there any misconceptions you hear about any one type of book review?
Um, yeah, there are a ton of them too. So with editorial reviews, you can guarantee reviews by paying for them. One misconception is
Mm,
that you should never pay for any reviews. And
mm,
if you have a tight budget, sure, you really don't have to, but you can pay for blurbs. You can pay for editorial reviews. And the benefit there is just that you get to guarantee a reviewer from either from a review company's team to take an honest look at your book and to guarantee that you're covered. You could spend 5 hours trying to pitch so many different review platforms and get only two. But if you are looking to save time because you have so many things to do as a marketing author, uh, then you're just helping yourself because you don't have infinite time. So there is really well, you cannot buy customer reviews. There's another misconception I see a lot. I have run a review service. Sometimes people say like, hey, when is my review going up on Amazon? It's like, we are not doing that. You cannot pay for reviews on Amazon. It could get your account banned. It could get my account banned. We're just not allowed to do it. And that's not what that service is for. Another thing that I think it's a hotter take. I don't need to spice it up too much. I got a lot of spicy takes. But for example, some people don't like to read their reviews. If you have 1,000
mm.
reviews, sure, you can chill. You don't have to read your reviews, but you probably should read them. You might be asking these people for them to review your book. And it's valuable to you. You should not listen to every piece of criticism you get. If somebody wrote a negative review, just say thank you and move on. You do not have to answer it, and you don't have to edit your book because of it. You just have to sit with it, and you have to recognize that, oh, actually 50 people did say something was wrong, and I could still edit it because I have access to my KDP account and I'm pitching my ebook still. Maybe you do. Maybe you get editorial feedback after that. Maybe you get beta reader feedback after that. You can use these reviews to understand how you're doing. So there's another one.
Yeah, it's all part of the artistic process. And I mean, like you said, sometimes there are actors who don't have your best interests at heart. But often what I see, especially with the um, longer reviews or more thoughtfully written ones, even if they have critique, often it's balanced with praise and the criticism itself can be used for, future works. I love when an author tells me that they are taking to heart that constructive criticism and implementing it on their next book. So there's so much value, not just in the marketing, but also in the craft element of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as self-publishing, you don't, or self-publishing or hybrid publishing sometimes, where you don't get that gatekeeping at the beginning. And
Right.
which means, I mean, you're not pitching someone and they're saying no. That is really helpful feedback. And you just don't get it as a self-published or sometimes hybrid author. And so
Yeah.
this criticism is part of the writing process. If you go to writers' workshops, everybody definitely is nice to you. That is the best part. But they're also telling you what's wrong and what you can fix. And
Yeah.
that's the only way we do this. That's the only way we get better.
Before we say goodbye to our guest, I'm happy to say that this episode is brought to you by Atmosphere Press, the only publisher that puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. Founded in 2015 by an author and PhD in literature and devoted to serving authors through editorial, design, publication, and promotion, Atmosphere has sold tens of thousands of copies of their authors' books across 6 continents. Visit atmospherepress.com to sign up for Atmosphere's newsletter, The Launchpad, and to learn about submission opportunities, event news, and free book publicity and writing residency giveaways. Exactly. Yeah. Well, Joe, where should our listeners go to learn more about you and all of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I run independentbookreview.com. Just go over there and read about books for a while, but then also head over to independentbookreview.com /writers only. That's where you can find editorial book reviews. That's how you can buy editorial reviews. That's how you can submit your book for free for the chance of a free review. That's where you can sign up for my newsletter. I talk every 2 weeks about I don't know, candy sometimes, but then also writer, marketer stuff that you're going to find value in. And then also my book. So you can pre-order my book right now, independentbookreview.com /the truth. It's going to be Kindle only for ebook, but it'll be paperback as well in all the other places. So pre-order it, email me if you want, independentbookreview.com. Just find me. I'm around.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Joe. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'm excited to see everybody on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Right Atmosphere, the Advice for Writers podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave a review and share this podcast with the writers in your life. And if you're ready to take the next step in your publication journey, visit atmospherepress.com to submit your manuscript for publication consideration or to learn more about writing and what it is that we do. I'm Hala. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.